Hey everybody, it's Jason, and today I am going to take a look at an old game I found in my parents' closet. So I brought it home to play with my kids. It is Star Wars Return of the Jedi Battle at the Sarlacc Pit. This game was the first miniatures game. Whoa, listen to that. The first miniatures game I ever played. It's not a co-op game, but you've got miniatures and your goal is to knock all those little monsters down into the pit and defeat Jabba the Hutt himself. Let's open this up and take a look. Okay, so the board is set up. I figure I'd spare you having to watch me try to piece this thing together, but as you can see, it's the barge thing that they fly on in the movie. It's over the classic Sarlacc pit. That means it's the cool one, which is just the hole and the teeth and the mysterious creature, and not that dumb hand puppet that they put in the digital remasters. It's got the Gamorrean Guards, who look really cool. They're placed all the way down. It's got, what's that guy's name? It's like Nikto, I believe. I don't know. We've got instructions, but these instructions are like 30 some years old, and they might fall apart as we speak. Yeah, Nikto. Okay, sounds good. I had a toy of him when I was a kid, and this game actually came out in 1983. Would you believe I was negative 22 years old when this came out? Probably not. We've got this guy. You may recognize him from some current Disney shows called The Mandalorian and The Book of Boba Fett. Here's a nice Boba Fett miniature. These are so old the paint has faded, but they're really cool. And of course, my favorite, Jabba the Hutt. A beautiful looking Jabba the Hutt. We've got the good guys. Princess Leia, not in her Jabba the Hutt dancer girl costume, unfortunately. We've got Chewbacca, who you may remember from Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Han Solo, who you may remember from the movie Solo. And Luke Skywalker, the guy who likes to run around drinking blue milk from weird animals. There was a time that Star Wars was way cooler, by the way. To set up the game, actually before we do the setup, I'll tell you the goal. The goal is, this is not a co-op game, believe it or not, but you draw cards that tell you which way you move, how many spaces you move, and you gotta just go knock all the guards off into the pit. And after the guards are gone, you go for Boba Fett and the other guy. After they're gone, you go for Jabba the Hutt. You get a point for each character you knock in the pit. You get a card, and at the end of the game, whoever has the most points wins the game. So for the setup, to make this a little simpler, we're just going to do two characters. Let's do Han and Chewie, just to make things a little less cluttered. So we put them aside. Each player gets 4 cards. Let's shuffle this up. Now, you've got two types of cards. You've got the ones, the clear back or the point cards. Just keep those off to the side. And then these are your direction cards. And there's these Jabba the Hutt cards. The Jabba the Hutt cards go in after you deal. It's one of those games where you don't want to deal in some of the bad cards on the opening hand. I can't think of, I know I've had some other games like that, but each player gets 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll just put their cards down here. The rest of the cards you take, you shuffle in the Jabba the Hutts. These cards are so frail. And, you know, I got this when I was like 8, so we didn't play it as a game, we played it as a toy. So everything's shuffled in. You put them in this little, I'm not sure why we bother with this, but they go in here. That's the draw card, that's the discard or played cards. We'll just stick that over there. Okay, so the way you play, you start over here, you move. And the way you move is by playing a card. So this is Han Solo's hand. You've got certain types of cards. If they're a number, you move that many spaces. Only that number of spaces. So like if you want to go 6, you'd have to go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? You can't just like go here. If you have a force card though, then you can. You can go any number of spaces between 1 and 6. Okay? Now, when you finish your turn, you want to finish your turn by a monster. I say monster, but you know, we mean villain. And the way you fight a monster is you draw a card, and if it's a number or a force card, you win. If it's a Jabba the Hutt card or what's called a direction card, do I have any of those? There, a direction card. It just has random text on it. If you draw one of those, then you lose and you get sent back to the beginning. If at any point Jabba the Hutt is moved and you're on the same line that he's in, so like here if you're in the middle, or if, you know, if he's there, then instead of moving a direction, or instead of playing a card, you can only move backwards into the side, or you can play a force card and move as many spaces as you want. So quick example, if Jabba the Hutt's there, you're Han Solo, you have to move, but you can only go back 1 space, like that, or like that. You'd want to go there because you always want to land by a monster so you can fight him. And I know I keep saying monster. Guard, bad guy, I guess. Or if you have a force card, you can play the force card and go up to 6 spaces. That's about the only strategy, because it's all mostly just drawing cards. So let's do a couple of sample hands real quick. We'll start with Han Solo. So Han Solo will move 2. You move 2 spaces by playing it in there, and then he goes 2 spaces. You always start in the middle. He goes 1, 2. So now Han Solo is challenging this guard. You challenge the guard by drawing a card. It is a number, and if it's anything except a Jabba the Hutt, you keep it in your hand. He defeated the guard goes into the pit, and there he stands. And you have 4 cards in your hand, so your turn is over. You always end with 4 cards, so if you play any cards, you want to draw up. So now Chewbacca would go. So he's got movement cards, and he's also got this one, which says, move to any empty space. Well, he's not going to use that yet. The reason you don't want to use that is because you can't fight those guys until all the guards are gone. You can't fight Jabba until those guys are gone. When you lose a battle, you're sent all the way to the beginning. So if you have a move to any empty space and you're back at the beginning, you could use that. So Chewie is only going to play his 2 also. You play it by doing that, and he goes 1, 2. He ends his space by a guard. Oh, I forgot to say, Han Solo gets this card for defeating him. So put that right there. There's Han Solo's scores. Here's the scores that haven't been scored. There's Han Solo's cards. Okay. And Chewbacca played a 2, and now he's standing by that guard. He draws a card to fight, and it is a 5. He wins. He takes it into his hand. I'm going to play this for just a little bit until somebody loses a battle, I guess. So now it is Han Solo's turn. He can play. He's not going to want to play the 3, because if he played the 3, 1, 2. Oh, wait, he could. He'll play the 3. You always got to make sure you go the exact number of spots on the card. So he went 3. He's fighting a guard. We'll draw the card. Oh, it's a direction text. So that means he did not defeat the guard. The direction card goes into his hand. He doesn't play it. It just goes into his hand. And he goes back to the beginning. And now for Chewbacca's turn. I forgot to give Chewbacca his point. There. So for Chewbacca's turn, he can go 3 spaces. 3 spaces will get him to another Gamorrean Guard. So he'll go 1, 2, 3. Same thing Han Solo did. It's time to fight. So like I said, if he draws... Oh, he did it! He drew a Jabba the Hutt card. So when you draw a Jabba the Hutt card, it goes right there. You go back to the beginning. You lose your turn. And you get to move Jabba the Hutt. So it really doesn't matter when there's no players on the board, but what it does is then you can move Jabba so that if there's a player starting their turn on the same row as him, they can't move. So let's pretend Han Solo didn't lose his battle. Let's pretend he's right there. You're Chewbacca, you just drew Jabba the Hutt, you move back to the beginning, you move Jabba over there, and now Han Solo can only move backwards on his turn. And then that's how Chewbacca's turn would end. He draws a card to finish the turn. It's another Jabba the Hutt. I don't know what you're supposed to do when that happens. I think you just move Jabba again. Well, that's too bad because now he's not blocking Han Solo. So we'll just pretend, and then he'll draw another card. Okay, there. He ends with 4 cards. His turn's over. So now it'd be Han Solo's turn. He cannot play a direction card or a number card because he's on the same row as Jabba the Hutt. So he can only move backwards to the side or play a force card and move like normal. So he's going to play a force card, go like normal. He'll just go up here. He's fighting that Gamorrean Guard. He draws a number. The guard goes in the pit. Han goes into his spot. And Han Solo gets another pig card. So that's it. The way you play, you just keep doing that until all these guys are knocked in. Boom, boom, boom. And then you guys get to go fight these guys. You kill them. We all know Boba Fett doesn't die in there. But let's assume he does for the sake of this game. And then when you get up to fight Jabba the Hutt, this is where it gets a little more complicated. You have to have a movement card to get up there, that makes sense. You know, if you're here, you play your movement card. Let's say it's a 6. He goes, ooh, he has to go 6 spaces to get up there by Jabba. So he could go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know if you can backtrack. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, there. Here you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just pretend. Okay, so he lands there. Now to kill Jabba, you have to either have a force card in your hand and play it, which is what Chewbacca could do here, or if you don't have a force card, then you can draw. So it's like, okay, I'm fighting Jabba, I'm going to draw. Oh, and it's not a force card. It's not a force card. That means you know it all the way back to the beginning, and then the next player can go. It goes until somebody can do that, till they can get up there. Let's say Han Solo. Let's pretend he had a force guard. Okay, there we go. Han Solo, it's his turn. He would play move to any empty space. He'd play that. It'd get him up right there to Jabba the Hutt. He'd say, I got a force card. He plays the force card. He kills Jabba the Hutt. And my 7-year-old cries because she loves Jabba the Hutt. But that's the game. Then at the end, you know, whoever kills all these guys gets the points. You get your Boba Fett point. You get your, that guy whose name I just forgot point. And whoever kills Jabba, of course, gets the Jabba the Hutt point. So that's worth 4. The guards are worth 1. The other 2 guys are worth 2. You add them up, you win the game, and that's that. It's a pretty cool, original concept. It was really fun as a kid knocking the guards into the pit. Another thing that was cool about this when I was a kid, I had a bunch of those little die-cast Star Wars toys, and they were the same size as these miniatures, more or less. I mean, they were a little bit smaller, but most of those were from Empire Strikes Back. So now all of a sudden I have some Return of the Jedi ones, and they got to all play together, and it just made life so much more enchanting and exciting. But that's it. This game isn't exactly full of strategy. It's more fun for little kids. It says 7 to 12. My 10-year-old wasn't too impressed. The younger kids were. So take that for what it's worth. You can pick this up on eBay for about $30 in shape much better than mine. But mine has good little memories. There's the pit. When it's done, you just take it apart and put it back in the box and stick it back in your parents' closet until one day when you want to dig it out again and watch Return of the Jedi. But that'll do it for this video. If you'd like to support my channel, you can like and subscribe. You can also visit tabletopjason.com, which I just redesigned, which will include links to most of the games I review. And you can also check out my card game at 52dragons.com, where you can buy the game, see some sample cards, or subscribe to Patreon and receive new and exclusive cards each and every month. So I will be back soon with another video. Thanks for watching and have a great week.